Welcome to Elite 6 Business Networking Think Tank, facilitated by your host Danny DeHeck, the place where decision makers come together to share their experience, knowledge and skills. To reiterate what we talked about last week, we talked about mental wellness in business, and just remember we try to break the meeting into 4 parts: experiences, problems, solutions, and hopefully we give you some takeaways that you get from coming along today. So just bear in mind that's the 4 parts. So our theme for the week this week is crisis management. So we thought we'd take a bit of a different tune on what we were discussing. So I will start the think tank meeting and we'll start talking about crisis management. Remember, we've got a chat box. If you do say something cool, try to summarize and put it in the chat box, and then I'll cut and paste it and we'll work on a mind map live as we go. And just briefly, should we introduce ourselves again? Why don't we do that? Let's go around the room. And because at our face-to-face meeting, we talked about your who you are, what you do, and why you do it. So if I was to ask you, Lachlan, to introduce
I'm Lachlan McNeil. At the moment, I'm a recruiter. I'm sort of pivoting into a couple of other things. I'm getting a few speaking engagements at the moment. And Engineering New Zealand just asked me to do a half-hour webinar. So I have to learn how to spell webinar and start with there. But that'll be interesting to 1,500 students. So I'm ready to give that a go. Yeah, that's quite interesting. So I'm looking at all little options at the moment. I love a gadget. I like something to do with people and gadgets, frankly. That's me.
Cool. Stephen, what do you do?
Stephen Fitzgerald. I run my own architectural practice. I'm the director operator of a team of 4 staff and team, and we generally work with innovative design to excel expectations of clients with regards to their projects.
Cool. What about Helen Oakes? What do you do?
I'm Helen. I'm a professional photographer and I specialise in sports photography, gymnastics mainly. I also shoot landscapes, portraits and aviation. And I do what I do because I love the creativity of it. I love the creative side. I love taking a photo and then getting a final product at the end after editing it. Editing is a big part of what I do too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How about that? Mark Scown.
Yeah, hi, I'm Mark, into my 4th year of being an insurance broker, now running my own business after decades of being a school principal, so brought a lot of transferable skills across. But what I specialise in is really restructuring people's existing personal insurance cover, particularly to do levelling and to be able to provide long-term affordability and sustainability to avoid those 4,000, 5,000, 6,000% premium rises as people get into their late 40s and beyond.
That's cool. Now, Paul Starling, what do you do?
Hi, I'm Paul. I run Canopy Computer Services in Lillybrook in Rangiora, and I hope to make computers less painful for home users and small businesses. So we basically do everything one-stop shop. I've been doing computers since punch cards and paper tapes, so I'll show you my age. And I've gone through the whole gamut through programming, database admin, management, and now managing other people's systems. So been around for a while, should we say.
Cool. Now I'm going to pronounce your names right because I've got a helper.
Jolene and Steph.
Hey. Morning,
See,
everyone.
I got it right. I delegated.
Thank you. All right, so we're Jolene and Steph from the Odd Wave. We specialize in e-commerce. So we build e-commerce stores for everyone. So we do Shopify, Magento, soon to be doing Neato.
Neato.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool e-commerce platform. And it's a bit more technical. So if you want a more of a detailed store, look at using Neato. Yeah, and then we also do white label services as well. So we partnered with a company in Australia, and we're doing all their e-commerce stores for their. So we can do the same for anybody, really. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, we love what we do. We run our own business.
Yeah, love it.
And yes, talent.
Ah, good stuff. Right, I don't know, Sean, can you say what you do? I know you're driving.
Yes, someone from Quality Clean focus on pest controls, but also can doing other stuff property related.
Good. Sounds good. And Vicky, I think you're doing the dishes there. I'll take you off unmute. See, you look like you're a dishwasher.
Yeah, I'm Vicky Eastwood. I have Arahi Tours, which is a specialised boutique private and personalised tour company. I also guide for other companies as well when I don't have any guests, and I am passionate about our Canterbury and about our South Island, and basically New Zealand, but I take the tours in the South Island and Canterbury are my main specialties.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Awesome. So that's our crew today. So what our plan of attack is to have a 45-minute meeting on crisis management. And so we've obviously got a lot of that going on at the moment. So what I really want to know, I will share the screen on our mind map so we can go as we go. So first of all, what's people's experiences been handling the crisis that we're going through at the moment?
Stay positive.
So would you say that would be called attitude?
Yeah, have a positive attitude, always.
Yeah, but I think in terms of the experiences as we went into the lockdown, for many of us, it was sort of a time to reflect because suddenly our income streams had dried up or our possibilities around sourcing new clients. So we had to work through that mind shift to start with about this is something completely new. And as Stephen's saying, in terms of having a positive mind shift, it was really around saying, well, this is where we're at now. It involves everybody, but how can we move forward from that? And I think once people started to move into that space, for some it took just weeks, others it took a good couple of months. I think for myself, my business is stronger because I had time to reflect on my own systems and things. I had that time and learned new ways of engaging with clients remotely, like this Zoom platform.
On the next one.
Actually, that was a really good point. I was just thinking while you was talking, is that we went in lockdown for 3 weeks. And there's people in America that have probably been locked down for 6 months now. And that must be doing their head in, I reckon.
Well, it was up to them. And also, you can't really go far when you've got a president like Trump. So,
about him already.
Yeah. And I also think, none of them wanted to do as they're told. And all of them thought that, well, not all, but, a hell of a lot thought that it was just, oh, yeah, it'd be all right, we'll get over it. And they're finding now that they're not getting over it and like, oh, hell, this is real. I don't think half of them thought it was real.
Yeah, you're right, Vicky, because they actually, especially in California, they protested and said, we want our civil rights, we're not going to be locked down. And now California has the highest amount of cases.
Yep.
Yeah, and Florida was the same, Helen. But when you've got their illustrious leader as recently as yesterday saying that, all of the large amounts of test results coming through is really just reflecting badly on their own testing. He hasn't even acknowledged that they've lost about 120,000 people now.
Yeah.
And they're just numbers, not people, right?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. He isn't in reality anyway. I mean,
No.
I think he has grandiose ideation. He really needs to be diagnosed now.
Yeah.
So is the president situation affecting us?
I think it does because they're, supposedly the superpower, and whatever America does affects the whole world.
Well, stocks and share market,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, for people who have money invested, and America, you know, is not helping that.
No.
So, I mean, we haven't really had the real impact of this yet. New Zealand seems to be doing all right, but I'll tell you what, if New Zealand, they have to get their things sorted out now. I was just listening to the national radio, and there was a professor from the Otago University who said there are still things not in place. Contact tracing. I mean, everyone goes, well, we want our civil rights. So when you're lying in a hospital bed and every bone in your body is aching and you can't breathe, you go, oh shit, you know, I should have forgotten about the civil rights and just worried about, you know, the COVID-19. And it's like people are in another world.
Yeah, well, they are.
I can't, as a nurse, you know, 30 years, and I can't believe that people are so buried in the sand over this. And it won't take much. We've only got 5 million, and our geographical location is such that in New Zealand, it's a small country. If it rips through here, we're all buggered, really. If it rips through like it has overseas.
So how are we going to handle that? That's the topic for today. What is the crisis management theme? Is like, what are we actually, like, what can we do about it in this situation? Like, do we sit here and prepare for what's not happening, or do we look for practical steps now? Because people are always trying to be Nostradamus in a way and predict the future, but reality is what's happening now is what's really important.
We can diversify our businesses.
Yep. Is that your experience?
Yep.
Yeah, that's certainly.
Yeah, well,
look to take your business online if you can online and see what services you can offer remotely.
Yeah.
Work in your business in a way that you can work from anywhere. So use like cloud services to back up your data such that you can plug into any computer anywhere and be able to work.
So that's something
that's okay for people who work online and can work online. I have a tourism business and I can't work online. You
could in a way, if you thought about a way of working online, like you could go through your photo gallery and, I don't know, I mean, generating money online, travel blogs and, you know, writing about your experiences of traveling in New Zealand. I mean, that virtual tourism may actually become a thing. You know, in a couple of years' time, I'll be asking for a trip and I might think, well, let's go and research about a country instead rather than traveling there. And all those photos I'm taking.
Turn that into money, Danny. You know, how do you turn it? Okay, people go, oh, well, we'll research it ourselves. That's what I'm finding now. Kiwis say, oh, no. I say, well, I can take you on a ski trip. But they say, we just drive ourselves.
That's the trick, though, is that's what we're talking about, is how do we turn that into...
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're discussing in a way. I mean, for example, I took all these photos and videos of Bangladesh when I travelled. So now I'm starting up an Etsy store and I'm enabling people to be able to purchase my photos and use them as printable stuff. All the videos I'm using to build up my social media, to create hype around myself.
I think, Vicky, we all have that problem in our businesses. I do myself, because with the invention of amazing cell phones that have amazing cameras on them, you know, people just go, why would I get a professional photographer? I can use my phone, you know. So it's coming up with a thing that sort of makes people not use their cell phone and go, oh, yeah, a professional photographer would be better for this you know, for this reason or that reason. And like Danny said, you know, you could diversify and maybe write travel blogs, try and make money that way, and have different avenues of income.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest, but you know, it's an idea.
So starting that thought process.
Yeah. Well, I have a motorbike now, so I can probably make it an awful lot cheaper going all around New Zealand doing travel blogs.
Yeah.
But it helps if you're pretty, blonde, like Itchy Boots. And Itchy Boots, she has probably, I think she's sponsored by somebody. So, getting out and doing that,
They all seem to be young, 20, 30 somethings, these travel bloggers, and they're all very attractive women and hunky men. But, you know, we can appeal to the older folk, maybe.
Oh, where was this again?
Yeah. What'd you say? Yeah.
One for the Wrinklies, a blog for the Wrinklies, travel blog for the Wrinklies.
Okay. All right, so let's just bring this meeting back a little bit. Crisis management. So what steps did we take when we went into a crisis situation? What did we have to do? What worked? What didn't work? What wouldn't we do next time we go into a crisis?
Yeah, you got a few things in your chat box, Danny, too.
Oh, thank you, mate. Yeah, we missed it. Oh, look, I have two.
Oh, good.
Oh, got it. I did that again.
Yeah.
We're sharing a keyboard now.
Yeah, so we're way ahead of you.
As per normal.
I can't get this on my phone. I don't get the chat box on the phone.
You do. You just don't know how to use technology.
Right. Oh,
Yes,
well, tell
let's
me
get to
then.
the point. Yeah, no, you really need it on a computer, to be honest. It helps a lot more, but you can. It's just a little you'll see a number 3 down there on your phone somewhere, and that will be the messages, because there's been messages. Even I didn't see them on a big screen. Yeah, so, okay.
You could also work with other people, collaborate with others.
Good thinking.
Mm.
Yeah, who could you party up with?
Someone with a like-minded business.
How do you make, I always look for ways to make your bread and butter somehow. How do you turn something into money? You know, that's the ultimate class over.
Yeah.
You know, like I took a photo that somebody might buy. Yeah, do you want to fix the spelling? So how do I just get one of my photos that people will buy it? Do I make it $1? And then everyone's going to buy it because it's only $1. And then once I realize I know how the process around selling stuff works, then I start putting my other 50 photos online and I start selling $5 photos. Well, how do you generate income online? If we're talking about throwing our businesses online. I had 3 people hire me last week, or the week before now, I think, and they paid me $150 an hour. But they went along and booked me on my calendar, and then we had a Zoom meeting, and I helped them do what they needed to do over Zoom. But they were actually quite happy to book me for an hour and a half, an hour. Now, it didn't quite go that way. They didn't just pop along to my website. They didn't just see me and they didn't book me. I looked at their website and then I engaged with them. I sent them a Loom invitation, and I sort of did a 5 or 10 minute look at their website and talked their way through it, and then sent them a link, and then that built that relationship up. And then at the end of my free 10-minute introduction, it said, look, if you'd like to carry this discussion on, go to this website, click on this, fill that out, and book me for an hour. And that was how I went around doing it. So I had to, because you try all these different things and nothing really works. So now with Elite 6, for example, I have had 2 people fill out our visitor invite form. And one of them was in Australia, who had a New Zealand address in Christchurch, and another one was in the North Island. So instead of doing my same old thing of emailing them back and forth, I actually did a Loom introduction. I went to their website, I recorded it, I went to their LinkedIn, I found all of them online, and then as I was doing that, I was recording it, and then I told them the process about becoming a member of Elite 6. And then I sent that off to them, and I got 2 different replies, but I did get an engagement. I also got notified when they looked at me, when they looked at the video. So, and then it took 2 or 3 hours for one of them to reply to me afterwards. And I just use all that information to better what I do next time.
Yeah.
And it was a really neat way of doing it. But it was something new as well.
Yeah. I don't think you can underestimate the value of establishing authority prior to firing out. I mean, the likes of Vicky and Helen there, you can't, as you say, people with their phones, if you just turn up and say, hey, use me, and people think, hang on, I've got a free, really good camera right next to me here, I'll give it a bit of a go. But once you establish authority, then the people who are willing to pay for that will come to you. So, I mean, that's what Danny's doing in some way. But it's certainly, a lot of people seem to fail to do that. They just say, hey, look, I know all about this, but it takes time to establish authority. People need to see you answering stuff and coming up with proper solutions that show your authority and what you know.
Yeah.
problems, if we're talking about that, running out of money, lack of funds.
Yeah,
Yes.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I added up. I spent $1,300 a month on subscriptions, and I'm going, wow, do I really? You know, hosting websites as a subscription, or you know, Spotify, whatever you use, and I'm adding these all up, going, I really spend that much? And then I realized a lot of things I really need. You know, like these podcasts we do, they cost money. Everything costs money, but I get the value out of them. Even having a booking system on my website costs money. So, you know, when you're using all these things, it does start to cost quite a bit. Like your Adobe subscription, Helen used it for a photo. She wouldn't be without that, but she's forking out $50 a month for something she has to have. Hosting her photos in a platform where people can see the gallery that she's taken and they can one click download it. Or having an email system that answers your emails for you kind of remotely, that costs money. And eventually you're spending all this money on subscriptions.
And nothing's coming in.
Yes.
Yeah.
The challenge actually can be stopping subscriptions.
Of reflecting on your own business operations. Because there's some things that are essential to have and some things that are nice to have. And when there's a cash flow impact, then maybe those nice to have things are things that you have to cut for a while.
Yeah. And I think even going into your business and looking at all those subscriptions and going through and taking out the ones that you don't need is quite critical, because half the time we don't know what subscriptions we've got, and then we get a bill and we go, oh, I was meant to cancel that one, or I don't use that anymore. So having a bit of a cull of them would be a good idea.
Except for Elite 6, of course. Even like Xero is another one, isn't it? Who uses Xero?
Yeah.
And out of curiosity, who goes onto a monthly plan when they're using those things, or do they pay yearly to save a little bit of money?
It depends.
No, monthly, depending on cash flow, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a monthly person. Helen will often buy them yearly.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing next month. That's my problem.
Yeah, same here.
I think if we're going to go to the problem and then the solution, so money, lack of funds, and then your solution would be applying for grants, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. Now there's a good one, because I've got somebody who hasn't been in Elite 6. It's actually Kirsten, actually, if Stephen's listening. But and she said she's at a quandrum, which doesn't know what to do, and she needs some sort of business advice. And I'm going, well, there's a grant out there at the moment. You know, like I got a $1,500 grant, and it was used towards Matt James. And we've had 4 or 5 meetings. And as much as I get a lot of advice from everyone, it's been absolutely invaluable, you know, just getting that. But I didn't know that was there until I asked somebody. So is it funds?
Apply for grants.
The problem is actually finding some of those things that are relevant for you, because I think it wasn't yours with the local Canterbury outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in touch with a guy down Southland who does CAD training. And I said, hey, you can apply for this. And it turns out to be it's not for him, it's for us. And so I felt kind of a bit bad, really. Just told him to move house.
The other thing is, Lachlan, is that a lot of people don't even know these grants are available.
Yeah.
No,
well, I
they
didn't
don't.
until you guys mentioned them. I got a few, and I must admit, I hate claiming anything.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think the money probably should go to other people that really, really need it.
That's
and
right.
You do feel a bit guilty, yeah.
And then I get a tax bill, and I think, bugger it, go for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually got the $11,000, whatever it is, the $12,000 loan. I think we talked about that a few weeks ago, but I just put it in the bank, and now I've got money to pay my tax. But theoretically, I meant to have a reason for that. But then somebody said, well, everyone's got it, and why wouldn't you have it there if you could? And when they start paying it back, give the whole lot back. But it's sort of like a wee safety net in a way.
Yeah.
That's what we talked about at the time, Danny, I recall, was that you may as well get that cheap loan in and use that to pay off your car, which is at a higher interest rate.
Right.
Makes
Oh,
economic
yes,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's only 3%, isn't it? Once you start paying.
Yeah, after a year.
Yeah.
It's way up to them.
Can you still get it?
I think so.
Yeah. It took 24 hours. Or probably maybe 36, but it was amazing. You know. Yeah, okay. So what have we got? We've got quite a few experiences, problems. So crisis management. What problems do we find? This is using the current one. We've got 3 in Christchurch. We've got earthquakes, shootings, and now COVID. If you go back and think of earthquakes, which is a bit more pleasant to talk about than shootings.
Yeah.
So what happened at the time of the earthquake?
Lack of planning.
Say that again, Paul?
Lack of planning and putting redundant systems in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
I think a lot of people noticed they didn't have stuff in the cloud and they couldn't get their documents.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so, you know.
Even if it was in the cloud, internet wasn't always there, so that's not always.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, people had left their laptops in buildings that they couldn't get in, and then they were stuffed.
Not knowing their passwords and
Yeah.
usernames to access the
Yeah.
stuff because they had it in their notebook on their desk.
Oh dear. Yep.
What happens in a reverse scenario when we have a pandemic in the cloud and we've got everything in the cloud and can't get it down?
That's what
We
they
were
call-
actually thinking about that. We were talking about that the other day. What if the whole internet went down and we were, you know, stuffed in that way?
I put everything.
Well, that's
into
my
the
prediction.
server, so I've got it in the server and then it goes to the cloud. So I've got it in 2 locations.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You have it locally as well. If you use Office 365 and the site, you can store everything locally as well as in the cloud.
Yeah.
So when the cloud comes back up again, it all resynchronizes.
Yeah.
At the moment, to survive, we're all going
OneDrive.
online, but with a pandemic in the cloud, we've all got to go offline.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the scenario, but yeah.
But in terms of the problems on this, what I would say is that having verified and simplified data as to what to do, and sort of an A, B, C level would be kind of useful, but it's so scattered around and disseminated, often from the point of view of the people supplying the service or something, it's hard. I'd like to say, here's what you should be doing in terms of backup. Do this. I know people put charts, but a really, really simple version that doesn't just back a piece of software, but offers a couple of solutions would be kind of nice. And you can say, okay, I've done this. I mean, for classic, I work for architectural firms for a lot. Classic thing is when the backup doesn't work. When do they discover it? When a computer's gone down, they go, oh, we've got a backup, and then, oh my goodness, we've been doing this for 2 years, and it doesn't even work. And I've been with a big practice in Christchurch, which was out of action for 2 days on a big project, big city project, just because of that.
It's like the lady used to take the office back up home in the train, and it was a magnetic train. It used to wipe the disc every day.
Oh.
I know that was a real story, but I'm pretty sure it was at the time. Yeah.
So we just had an experience recently. Jolene damaged her laptop, but we couldn't recover the data because it has BitLocker on it. And the encryption key must have been stored by the manufacturer on the actual disk.
Oh, no.
So we thought that it would be stored on OneDrive, like in the cloud somewhere, but we didn't find the key, so we can't recover the data.
Yeah. But years and years of photos and all sorts of things.
No.
I'm so upset.
The disk is there, but you just can't recover it because you need
Could
that encryption key.
Could you get a security expert to try and do that, maybe?
No, apparently you can't. Yeah, you've got to
That's
have a
how they
key.
solved the in the first place. No one can break into it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, neither can we.
Cool.
Anyway.
What were some other problems we had?
I have to say a problem for mine was that because I'm used to working from home, it was like business as usual for me. Now, for a lot of my clients, it was very different. And you just have to think, okay, it's different in your world. You know, some people also were traumatized by working from home, and I've done it for years.
Yeah.
So it's like, right, okay. But you've got to remember that it is very, very different for them. People who normally work with 50 other people, it's a different game.
Yeah.
So I mentioned before getting onto the people's heads, but I found a bit of a problem. I had to sort of shut myself up.
Yeah.
My first business name was called Remote Internet and I used to have a logo of a stamp of Milford Sounds, and my goal was to be able to work anywhere in New Zealand remotely.
Yeah.
And that was when they had the Nokia phone and the dial-up connection, and I used to use a compact 11-inch screen computer laptop. And but the idea was, you know, like it's always been good for me to think that I can work anywhere, and that's been my goal. And I even had a portable printer that used to go into my suitcase. You know, but the reality now is I think it's a blessing that you can actually, the laptops are awesome. You pick them up and you can work anywhere. An external screen is a blessing. Having external keyboards is something I live on now.
Yeah.
and a good desk.
It's amazing because our whole life really is online. Everything, documents, everything is online.
Yeah. I actually think the problem, just getting back to what we were talking about before, is, people don't have a plan, but sometimes you have 90% of a plan, but you don't know that you haven't got the last 10% until it happens. So I guess taking the time to verify, oh, gee, that works. So backup systems which say, okay, let's do a temporary backup onto something. Yes, that works. All works. Great. Like automatically would be a really good, useful thing to do. It's,
well, it would be good to test those systems, wouldn't it?
Yeah, just have an automatic testing, verify. Yeah. Okay, all your backups worked. I mean, I use Outlook, so sometimes you have your OST or your PST files, you have your image backups and all that sort of stuff, but how do I know if they're working or not?
Yeah, it's like when we used to do earthquake drills as kids at school. You do it in case there's one. And I remember as a kid, I used to live in Auckland, and you never get earthquakes in Auckland. But we do these drills, and you go, why are we doing this? But, one day it happened, and
Yeah. The challenge is then, the problem is it takes hours to test it, that it's actually working.
6 minutes.
It does,
But see, I have a recruitment backup. I have 3 different recruitment systems. I have my normal Outlook just for emails. That's easy. I have quite a few photographs which are backed up in a couple of places, but it's
How many you've got your email systems backed up?
Oh, email system. I use Office 365, so it's not a.
That's not backed up.
Yeah, that's backed up.
Which is on my system.
Well, how do you
most people you can only restore a month's worth.
Right.
Yeah, the rest gets archived or deleted if you don't back it up. Yeah.
So if you delete something today and realise in 3 months' time, it's gone.
Right.
What about using IMAP mail? Is that like live mail? What is IMAP?
IMAP stores your email on the server, but then you reach your mailbox gets full, so you've got to set a limit because it never removes email from the mail server, so you'll have to clean it up and archive it yourself. So that's the difference between IMAP and free.
Or buy more space.
Or buy more space.
The Office 365 gives you 50 gigabytes, and I've got every email ever received since 1992.
Wow.
I haven't run out of space yet.
Wow.
You love your email.
If
my button numerous occasions.
Yeah, so if I theoretically wouldn't have a backup then, because I can access my email when I'm online. However, when it comes to not getting online and be able to retrieve emails, I wouldn't be able to do that if I'm trying to search for something that's archaic. So is there a way of actually file saving and storing your mailbox into a folder where all your mail...
Like an archive system.
Yeah, was that just too complicated?
You should, depending on your mail client, you might be able to export it to, if you're using Outlook, you could export it to a .pst file. Or you could use an Office 365 backup if you're using Office 365, and I'm sure Apple have got something similar.
I think lawyers would have a problem. I would personally like it if my email disappeared and had to start again. It'd be like, yay!
Yeah.
Well, they can also request your LinkedIn backup just instantly.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff,
When
guys.
things disappear, it just helps keep things simple.
No, sometimes something crops up and then you can't find it, and then it's a problem because it's a query on a job you've done, or something that's unresolved, or what was the original project spec, and then you've lost it.
What about we got solutions? What have we got? Let's think some solutions in. So it is backup's a really interesting one in itself, isn't it? Because backup is really good, but then restoring is not that easy. And when you restore something you've had backed up a month ago, you hope what I first worry about is overwriting the stuff that I need now. Is the backup going to overwrite the current stuff?
I got the dog's head in between my hands trying to type.
Should see what's happening down here, but I don't think we can without breaking them up. Crazy in our household. Dog rules the list. Hey, Liz.
Hi.
On camera.
Oh, look.
Kitchen things.
Hey, have I not got the camera? Yeah, there you go. Can you see me? Can you?
Yeah.
You can.
I'm in my flash kitchen.
Whoa.
Wow, yeah, that's good.
Wow.
Kitchen things in Christchurch.
Cool.
It's like choose an oven, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Just do not put the phone in the microwave. Did that a long time ago. It was good fun when it did happen.
Right, something else.
So what else have we got there? So solutions to crisis management. What have you found that works good for you guys? Networking. I'm going to put that one there.
Yeah.
We're asking
Yes, definitely.
others for help.
Help and guidance. Yeah.
Help. And look at my spelling. It's good, isn't it? Guidance.
ANCE.
ANCE.
Yeah.
Guidance. Look at that.
Woo-hoo.
I certainly think, I sort of referred to it before, but actually really, rather than jumping on with a solution, is actually trying to find out what the real problem is. Some people's thing was just money, cash flow, and that's the essential bit of what it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lack of ideas, you know, and I'm a bit of an ideas hamster, and I pile away with an idea. It may not be people's problems. And so just trying to ask the questions and being, what's the word, non-judgmental.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that my comment there was meeting people's expectations, but people's expectations, what we've found, are still very high, and they don't seem to have much understanding when you can't provide all the services you normally would. It's always amazing. I'm sort of think, well, why are people so demanding?
We get emails going, I realise there's COVID-19 going on. However, it's taken this long to get my parcel. When will I get it? And we're like, do you not understand? You just said you realise, but you don't realise because you're expecting it, you know, in a week or two, and it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Danny, one thing I'm finding that meeting someone's expectations, I don't think is a high enough bar anymore. Exceeding their expectations is a better goal. But to exceed their expectations, you have to listen and understand what their expectations are to be able to go on.
Yeah.
No, the trick is to lower their expectations at the beginning, Steve.
Yeah.
Is that a solution?
Deficiencies. No, that'll be a problem.
Was that a problem? Sorry, I'm just grabbing notes. If you're putting a note in a problem, try to put a P in front of it, then I'll know that it's a drug.
Okay. Yeah.
Just saying, it's really good. These mind maps are really brilliant because I put them together as a blog afterwards, and they really are quite good snippets. Oh, is that right?
Business continuity planning.
Yeah, that's a solution.
Yeah. Thank you. Right, so where we're gone, I like that. Now you saw
Thing's important, Danny.
So Stephen, can you just chat in the box and put that exceeding expectation in a paragraph? Because that was quite good, that. And Lachlan, yep.
I was going to say, you know, so one of the solutions, of course, is pivoting and helping other people pivot. Sometimes people just need to think, actually, you practically could do that. For me, obviously, you know, with recruitment, I was doing a lot of stuff that required international travel. So I just did move to a bit of career counselling and doing CVs for people.
Yeah.
And that's often what they need. And it's not very glamorous. And obviously, you know, trying to reformat tables, you know, at 11 o'clock at night is no fun for someone like me. But pivoting to that is useful. And that's been a good solution.
Definitely a good point, because diversifying, using your other skills that you have to help people,
But also intersecting that with other people's pain is important, rather than just saying, I've got the service, come on, pay me for it. And people think, I don't need that.
Yeah.
You know?
Was it you, Lachlan, that had people that had lost their jobs, like fairly high up people, and then they thought they'd apply to Countdown for work, and they couldn't even get in there?
And in fact, it's a big thing in the UK. A lot of people are just doing that. They're thinking, look, nothing's going to happen in my job for 3 to 4 months. Why don't I get a job that I can start and I can do something, be active during the day. I may not make the money I've made before, but at least I'm out there doing stuff. And then go back home. And then after 4 months, 5 months, you can say, hey, look, I've worked, come back. And it's, the thing that stands in most people's way is the perceived status drop, that people think, my goodness, what happens if my client sees me packing groceries? And that you need to man up to that. You need to person up to that. Can we edit that one?
I'm not going to the I'm not working in the supermarket. I can't do it. I did it for 18 months, so I'm just not going back there.
Well, but you know what I mean. The point is something that would be a perceived status drop. Most people have a bit of a problem with that.
Oh,
you know,
I think
but
a lot of people do. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And I think one thing with the lockdown, which was really good, we didn't spend so much money, and then we realised what we spend our money on. You know, like the guy that earns $200,000 a year, you know, he's probably driving an $80,000 car. You know, so maybe that's where they need to rethink. Well, they've got the big mortgages to go with it, so maybe they need to say, well, let's cut out some of that, you know, the grandeur of life, and don't spend so much. Like Mark's living in a $200,000 house now, aren't you, Mark? In the Batch and Rangitata.
Oh no, a cardboard box under the local road bridge, mate.
It's a very flash cardboard box. Look at that.
Weren't you living in the car and then you set
tell
it
us-
on fire?
Tell us your car story.
Well,
Have you got your photo of your car handy by any chance?
I would have it if I could get onto the screen. I could get to it pretty smartly.
Yeah,
I'll bring it close and then we'll switch. If you.
Yeah, right. Sounds good. I'll make it that you can share the screen. I just want to show what Mark does to a car.
I want to better minimise this screen first. I can't do that.
I'll just what I'll do is I'll stop the sharing of this screen and somehow allow you to share the screen. Security, share screen. There you go. It's available now. This is what if Mark's got the photo.
I'm just quickly trying to get. I'm getting close.
All those listen to the podcast, Mark is going to show us what he does in his lifestyle property when no one else is around.
Right, that's my. That's the back seat of my 8-month-old second-hand
Oh,
camera.
we can't see it, Mark.
You got to share the screen.
Share the screen.
Yeah. 6-month-old car. You've just bought it. You're loving it. You're lording it over the neighbours.
Here we go.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, so the upshot of that was sort of like my burning issue of the week. I was actually trying to jumpstart my Prado, which is right next door to that. And I was running idly in the car, and I was just putting around out behind somewhere. And obviously one of the jumper leads dropped off the battery terminal, arced in the engine bay. And of course, modern cars are full of plastic, which ignited. By the time I looked up, there were sheets of flames. The bonnet was up at the time, sheets of flames going up. You might see over the back here is a set of trees, and they were burning as well.
Oh, no.
So, I had to yell out to my wife to call the fire brigade. I'm on a 10-acre block out in the country, so fire brigades are not going to turn up instantly. So I had to run up my driveway, turn on my irrigation pump, drag the irrigation line up to here, and started putting on water.
Right. So that would be fair to say that is a crisis.
Yeah.
That was a crisis.
So what was your how did you handle that? Like, what was it? Let's go break this down. What was your experience with the crisis?
My first experiences and putting it in printable English would have been just shit, bugger. Then I did go into crisis mode, and my wife's told other people this because I was a volunteer fireman for 14 years. So I've probably put out several dozen car fires in my time. So unfortunately, I didn't have a proper fire hose, in which case I could have done it.
So you could have had a proper equipment.
Yes, or at hand too, because just that 2 minutes of getting water to it, the whole engine bay was involved, and then once the bag went off, it went off explosively and blew out through the front windscreen window, and of course that left a big opening through where the glove box normally was, straight into the burning hot engine compartment. Then the flames just came straight through into the interior of the car.
Now,
all over
Being an insurance broker, what was the gain?
What was that?
Being an insurance broker, what was the gain?
The gain was I'm quite thankful that I'm not in house and contents insurance, because whereas I do all the work for clients, you have an accident like that and you do all the work for the broker. They send you a form.
Yeah.
You've got the knowledge not to charge you in the garage.
So the solution to that problem would have been what? What could have made it?
The solution would have been not to try and run jumper leads from one vehicle to the other unattended.
All right. So, okay.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. I'm pretty philosophical about it. I'm just waiting for money to come through. Got fully assessed and it will be paid for. But I've had a friend who's loaned me a car, so that's been useful and very kind.
I'm just sort of thinking with that one, though, with the solution side of it. You said you jump a lead to the car. So was that obviously because the battery keep going flat?
Oh, this was not in my car, but this is in my Prado, which has been off the road for 9 months. And I actually had a guy coming to buy it, so I thought, well, I better get it started up so it's going. And I've done it 3 or 4 times over the previous 6 months.
So why did you wait 9 months to sell the Prado? Why didn't you sell it? Like Helen's going to.
Well, I was going to fix it.
Oh, gonna.
It's got a broken transmission, so I was going to fix it. Brother-in-law's a diesel mechanic, and but it's just timing and cash flow, and so it was just parked up.
So did the guy come round and see the burnt out car? And
he arrived when there were 3 fire engines and 2 tankers parked up my driveway.
Prado's not for sale now.
And he was a friend of my neighbour, and both of them came over, and he said, it's probably not a good time to talk about your vehicle, is it? And I said, you're bloody right there, mate.
Yeah, one careful male owner.
Yeah.
So a solution could have been what? If you were looking back at hindsight, do you wish you got rid of the Prado earlier? Wish you had a spare battery laying around?
Yeah. Prados have 2 batteries to start with. That was part of the problem, but it's just one of those things that's a genuine accident, and you could say, well, what if, even if I'd had decent water supply there immediately, I still would have ended up with a damaged camera. So
that's right.
As it happens, we're going to turn the opportunity. We're looking around for a replacement, 4 or 5 year old vehicles. Most of them are in Auckland. So when the money comes through, my wife and I were going to go to Auckland, pick one up and do a 5-day road trip south.
Nice.
Oh,
So I think my point with that conversation really was the fact that all the crises that have happened in Christchurch were kind of different and unpredictable. And sometimes it doesn't matter what you do to, prepare yourself. You can't prepare for every scenario. But if you went back to the 3 fundamentals, like the last crisis have been under lockdown, for me it was food and shelter and family were the 3 main things that were important. But if you go back to the shootings in Christchurch, was it food and shelter and family? It wasn't. It was different. And if you went back to the earthquakes, it really, it was kind of more of a community effort to help and rally around.
Yeah.
But then when we go back to the COVID-19 things, you didn't get involved in the community, you did the opposite. So each crisis needs its own strategy.
Yeah.
I think that's when by talking to other people about how they're dealing with it or what they're doing, I think that's something that seems to be relevant to everything.
Yeah.
A common interest.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got to come up with some takeaways.
Actually, Danny, just quickly, I know time's thing. In terms of solution, actually thinking about this one, we're talking about the data stuff, is actually have one place bookmarked where you've got reliable information. Just keep bookmarks of that reliable information about stuff, because there's so much fluff around there. So I think that would be a good sort of terms of solutions for stuff,
It's almost like your emergency kit.
Like an emergency hot list bookmarked on your phones, on your sort of stuff, and then maybe back that up so you can, I know where to go when things happen.
Does the Prado battery finally have been jumped up?
Just kidding.
Did it actually?
Did it do the job?
Yeah.
Did you have enough time to charge it and get it going?
Nah, just kidding.
I think Mark's gone to sleep. Mark, wake up. Did the Prado get start?
What's that?
Did you get enough?
Not really one of the solutions, is it?
Well, I had another guy came around and he just had one of those great big booster packs that just sit on. He's a mechanic, and he just put it straight onto the old battery and then poof, started. So if I had had a piece of equipment like that, I would have better started without using a car.
Yeah. What about calling the AA?
Yeah.
By the time the AA got there would have been no plantation or Prado there as well.
No, call the AA before you started, before you jumped the car.
Oh yeah, but I'm a farm boy from way back. We always do these things.
Yeah.
Most times we get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most times.
Poor car.
Takeaways. Put the emergency kit thing that Lachlan was talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, finger. Yeah. I cut my thumb twice. I've cut both thumbs in the kitchen lately. But as soon as I do it, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, I have to stop. And that's kind of like a lot of those crises that you have, isn't it? You just have to stop and deal with it. You can't leave it.
Yeah.
And that's the frustration, something. But then you do get your priorities right, don't you?
Yeah.
Any more takeaways? What have you got?
Oh, basically, be put in a nutshell, it's just say, be prepared for every eventuality, if that is possible.
Yeah. What about, where do we look for our leadership when things go wrong? We turn the TV on, we listen to the radio, we hope the Prime Minister's been informed enough. But how much faith do we put in those sort of people?
Well, if you're in I think in New Zealand, your first point of leadership is yourself. So in the moment that a crisis occurs, initially for many of them, whether it's earthquakes or whatever, you have to look to your own self as to what you're going to do. Then you do reach out, as we did in this country, and you had the Prime Minister and old Bloomfield up on stage, and I think most of the population were reassured with the way that they were handling things compared to other leaders around the world. And of course, you look out and seek out that leadership. I just feel sorry for those millions of Americans who are looking to their orange-haired president for leadership and listening and believing it.
I know. It's amazing. I mean, it'd be so disappointing to think, oh my God, we're on our own.
Well, you are. Apart from groups like this where you can go for advice.
Yeah, I think so. All right then. So what about next week's topic? We have got 1 minute left there before you guys all run away. What about, we did talk about health. We did talk about diets at the start, and that was quite interesting. But could we have dieting tips or health tips?
I'll be eating then, so I'll be busy.
Yeah. That might be passing from the script too much.
No, that's right.
Well, you have to stay healthy in order to deal with crisis.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Or stress, yeah.
Is it priorities?
What about we talked before about establishing authority? That's something that's sort of I've got taken a bit of an interest at the moment. It's quite establishing authority in your sector.
Ah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. So, are you becoming a person of influence or a leader?
I'm a glamorous blonde influencer traveling the world.
Yeah.
You've got a fair bit of work to do, Lachlan, I can see.
Is she on TikTok?
Sorry?
Are they on TikTok? What's the address?
Actually, I did something a while ago I went to a Christmas party, a midwinter Christmas thing, and I put different outfits on, and I just did little shots and had one go from one shot to the other one and what should I do? And my daughter said, Dad, you should be so on TikTok.
So what, in a nutshell, what did you actually say the topic could be, Lachlan?
Well, I think establishing authority, and before you start selling stuff, but how you establish, choose how do you establish authority, how you take a line, how you might think about promoting that. Does that make sense? Because most people are kind of jumbled.
And it floats, and it goes into, how do you position your speciality so that you stand out amongst the crowd?
That's right, yeah. I mean, for example, online, I've been doing stuff where I do a bit of CV writing to promote that. And all these people who do career stuff go on there and say, oh, the CV writers, they only know half the story. I've got full career services. And they get on your LinkedIn stuff, And the fact is, I've only been going 18 months and I've been going 17 years doing the same stuff. It's that sort of thing, So be able to establish it, take a line, reinforce. And there's some people who are doing really well on things like LinkedIn, but also just personally, how you introduce yourself. I think those things are quite important.
When you say an authority in your field,
how about this?
Is that what you mean? Like,
establishing and reinforcing authority in your field.
Okay,
They're becoming
And that is your point of difference, and that's your strength.
Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
right.
I've got to go, guys, so I'll just carry up.
See you, Mark.
All right, cheers, Mark.
I can see the flames licking behind you out your window there, Mark. So.
Fire extinguisher in the car would be good. Okay, guys, I'll just screw out the meeting for the podcast. So thanks for tuning in today. If you're wondering who these crazy people are, please do check us out on elite6.co.nz. Appreciate your comments and feedback. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll come back next week and listen to our theme, which will be becoming an authority in your field. Hope you've enjoyed the meeting. All right, that's me done. Yes. I need to figure out how to push pause on that recording thing. Pause.